Tears of the Kingdom. It's everything I wanted, and more. It's only been 11 days since the game officially came out, and it has already made one of my most iconic gaming memories. The start of the game is unlike anything you've ever felt in Breath of the Wild. The chillingly dark corridor underneath Hyrule Castle, and the music starting to distort as you head down to meet Ganondorf for the first time. It's something I've never felt from Breath of the Wild, and god damn it, do I love it. When I saw the Master Sword snap, I didn't know how to feel. It was one of the coolest memories I'd felt in a game for a long time, but then you wake up in the sky. The feeling of stepping out into the sky for the first time and diving off the platform, and the music starts and the title shows up. It's something that gave me chills the first time I started playing. But to start this video, let's just explain a couple of things I wanted from Tears of the Kingdom before I started playing the first day. I wanted a changed open world, something that could allow me, a Breath of the Wild player with around 1,000 hours, a new world to lose myself in again, a Hyrule that I could explore, that I could re-explore. I wanted the sky to be something that could expand the horizons of this reimagined Hyrule I would be going through. I wanted the sky to act as some sort of cherry on top, or frosting to the cake. I wanted it to feel like it would complete the package. I wanted there to be a complex underground system, something kind of like the underground caves in Elden Ring. I wanted to see what they could do to the exploration if caves were involved. And finally, I wanted good dungeons. Dungeons that have great theming and better puzzles than the Divine Beasts. These are the main things I wanted from Tears of the Kingdom before I started playing. I also did want the story to end up being well written, but to me that was secondary to the gameplay experience, since this is the only game that could recapture the same feeling I had when first playing Breath of the Wild. What I got was everything I wanted. Every single thing I wanted came true, and I was given so much more. I'm only around 50 to 60 hours in, and I haven't even finished the story, but I already have so much to say about what I have played. So let me start talking about it piece by piece. When I first started playing the game, the first thing I noticed was how amazing the new mechanics are. I just wanted to bring some form of attention to the game in this regard, because even though it isn't one of the main reasons I've fallen in love with the game, I think this is a damn good reason to like this game. They've added momentum, buoyancy, new abilities like Ascend, Ultra Hand, and Fuse. All of these additions are great. But now for the first thing that completely exceeded my expectations. The sky. The sky was something that I was hoping to have more than what was shown in the trailers. I was scared that there wouldn't be enough to the Sky Islands, and that they would be lacking in content. But as you drop down from the title screen, the entire opening of the game takes place on the great Sky Island. This addition to the game was the one thing I needed to truly be sold on the Sky Islands. One big island that I could explore completely at my own pace. In fact, the Great Sky Island ended up being bigger than I thought it would be. The Sky Island truly had to be designed well, as the entire game's tutorial takes place on this island. I think that they ended up doing a phenomenal job trying to recapture the magic of the Great Plateau, Even though I don't think the Great Sky Island meets the genius of the Great Plateau, I think it was a good attempt, and a needed aspect to really expand the Sky Islands into more than just a couple of little islands and Easter eggs here and there. Overall, I think the Sky is a perfect expansion to the Hyrule map, seamlessly connected, and just makes the world feel that much fuller. When you finally make it onto the ground, and you reach Hyrule Kingdom for the first time in Tears of the Kingdom, I think that you immediately get hit with a perfect introduction to all of the changes the map has to offer. You end up dropping in the middle of Hyrule Field. From here, you can see almost every single change made to the map, just from this one location. It's an amazing feeling seeing how different the map truly is. It makes you feel like instead of being on familiar territory, you're actually in a brand new place altogether. And this is an aspect of the game that I think they really needed to nail. And they knocked it out of the park. Every single area in this game has had meaningful and deliberate changes. Every area across the map is also going through some sort of issue because of the events leading to the game's starting conflict. Being able to see how different these areas are with all of these disasters going on really makes this world and map feel alive compared to the last game. You feel like this world can change. I almost prefer how the map is before you fix the issues in each area, since each area feels so unique with the changes. The changes to Hyrule are something that I think the team did perfectly. Then we move on to the single greatest addition to the game, the Underground. The Underground in this game is so much more than any Zelda fan could have ever imagined. Not only did we end up getting multiple complex cave systems, but we got something called the Depths. The Depths are a 1-to-1 map that exists at all times underneath the base overworld. Fully made, filled with structures, challenges, enemies, weapons, and armor. The DLC armor and amiibo armor from the previous game makes a return, and all of it is placed in the Depths. You have this massive new world for you to explore in Tears of the Kingdom, at the same time as the Sky, and at the same time as the newly updated overworld. This doesn't even take into consideration the depth provided by the new fuse system. Resources you get from the Depths, or the overworld, or the Sky, all have different uses in-game, as well as when fused with your weapons. But I digress. The Depths is something I didn't even think to be possible in this game, and the team for Tears delivered. Something I didn't even think we could get. I'm not even done talking about the Underground. As I mentioned earlier, there's now brand new caves all across Hyrule, completely separate from the Depths, and every water well from the previous game has had a new mini cave attached to it, filled with food, Easter eggs, lore, and hints. The expansion of the map provided by the Underground as a whole is something I didn't even think we'd come close to in this game. I had full faith that we'd get some sort of underground system to this game, but with how much the marketing was showing the Sky Islands, I had no idea we'd get something anywhere close to how in-depth the Underground actually ended up being. It's a marvel in gaming. The depths, caves, and wells make exploring Hyrule feel so free. The only thing left that they could even hope to add is underwater segments, but even I think that's overkill at this point. This map is already so unbelievably dense, and I don't think the team could have done a better job. I didn't even know they could do this good of a job, and I'm not even done. Finally, the last thing I wanted, and the most important thing to me, were the dungeons. In Breath of the Wild, the dungeons in that game were known as divine beasts, and they weren't great. Honestly, one of them was actually embarrassingly easy. The divine beasts in the story were pretty cool, but that's really it. There was also only one boss to really write home about. When Breath of the Wild came out, I didn't really care that the divine beasts weren't great, since I had the rest of the game to enjoy. And back then, I found the beasts to be somewhat challenging, since I wasn't very smart. But even back then, the things I pointed out were that the theming of the dungeons weren't great, puzzles were pretty easy, if not downright handholdy, and the bosses were basically the same thing 4 times, with mild changes. I recently replayed Divine Beast Varuta before Tears of the Kingdom came out, and my god! That was almost embarrassing! I didn't remember the puzzles at all. Why would I? It's been 6 years! But I beat the dungeon in 20 minutes! 20. As a Zelda fan, the dungeons in Breath of the Wild just weren't great. I don't care about it nearly as much as other people, but even I had my gripes. And as much as I loved Breath of the Wild, I always recognized that the dungeons could be much better. Tears of the Kingdom realized this wish. For starters, I've only done 2 dungeons. I've done the Wind Temple and the Lightning Temple. Both of these dungeons are structured differently. The Wind Temple is like a divine beast done completely right. A 100% open-ended dungeon that you can approach in any order you want. Fun puzzles, intuitive uses to mechanics, and the environment. Great theming. Like the dungeon feels like it pops straight out of a Studio Ghibli film. And a wonderful boss. I will remember that boss for a long time. Seriously. The Lightning Temple, on the other hand, is structured more like any old Zelda dungeon. There's really one way you can get through the dungeon. It's not really open-ended at all. But that is a good thing, because it makes all of the puzzles feel meaningful, intricate, and they scale in difficulty the longer they go on. The theming of the Lightning Temple is one of my favorite themes in a long time for any temple. And the boss uses the mechanics established in the temple and the Gerudo storyline fabulously. I think that if they keep up this quality of dungeons for this game, I'm gonna be super happy. Already, I'm so much happier with the dungeons in this game than Breath of the Wild, and I'm not even close to done with all of them. Again, I think the team really got it right with this game, and I can't wait to see what they do from here. Those are my current thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom. As you can imagine, I'm having the time of my life. I never thought a game could recapture the feeling I had when playing Breath of the Wild. I highly doubted that Tears could even beat the nostalgia I had for Breath of the Wild. But somehow they did it. They did what I thought would be impossible. In my last video, where I say goodbye to Breath of the Wild, I mentioned that I was looking forward to a possibly greater experience in Tears of the Kingdom. And I got a greater experience. I can't wait to see where the rest of this game goes. I can't wait to see where Zelda goes from here. And from recent interviews with Aonuma saying that Tears of the Kingdom is the new formula and standard for Zelda moving forward, all I can say is wherever it goes, it's gonna be great.